Beautiful mid-January day here in East Tennessee. Thought I'd been wanting to do a product review video, just go through a few things I've purchased recently and over the years, and tell you what I think about them and how I used them. Say after what's it been, almost 4 years living on the boat, and kind of whittled some things down, so maybe help you out some. This is just some stuff that you've probably seen this on some of my other videos. It's just a bubble wrap that you get, attic insulation. Spray paint one side of it black to absorb the heat, and the other side leave it reflective to reflect the heat. This on the outside, when the sun hits it, helps to warm it up. Of course, this one has a hole in the center of it. This is a hatch cover. Has a hole in the center for exhaust fan in the middle of the hatch and the head, which I hadn't replaced because I had to replace my hatches again. So I put this over the top of it. It had just been exposed, so this, like I say, the black would absorb the heat, and then the silver to reflect it back inside of the boat, and it would make a huge difference. I mean, the metal, when it gets really cold outside, and even I keep the humidifier on 35%, when it would get really cold, it would still ice up around the metal, and put this over the top of it, and it wouldn't get nearly as much humidity on it because the dew point. Anyway, it wouldn't get condensation on it, and it wouldn't get as cold. It wouldn't freeze up. Something new I've been getting here. These are on clearance at Defender. The hatch covers. If only they worked out like that. I hadn't tried the bug screen yet, but there's a little, where is it? Little pouch right here. One-handed stuff right here, and there's a bug screen in the center of that. As I said, new phone, trying to figure it all out, try to get everything centered. The medium are too small, the large are too big. It's okay when I put the reflective insulation under it. The large fit better, and the small ones I end up using around my little rectangular hatches. Just kind of go around the cockpit here, I guess. This is an Edson pedestal wheel. It's not pedestal, wheel holder. I had it originally over here, but then I just didn't like it. Plus it was leaving a mark. Anything leaves a mark on these. You can kind of see there. I move it around. That's not from the wheel holder, but it's pretty tight up against the framing. And I saw somebody that had put it over the top like this, and it does leave a bubble on the outside, but this stuff needs to be replaced anyway. But it's kind of cool having it up there. My head is about here, so I get a couple of inches of clearance. I think if I were out sailing, I would probably loosen the nuts up here and spin it, just in case. I don't want to whack my head on that, but it's pretty cool. You just push it up, push the pin in. Let's go the other way. Sorry, it goes the other way. And then it slides out. And I got the kit where it comes with the quick disconnect nut. You just take that off and slide your wheel on anytime that you don't need it. You got somewhere to stow it. It's really tough to do one-handed here, but we'll get her. There you go. Now your helm's out of the way, and you got the cockpit. I got the big T-shaped cockpit to move around in. And every time my grill is back there, every time I want to use my grill, I had to go around the helm. And when you have people over, it's a big cockpit, but you lose a lot in these spaces right here. Grill cover, I need to put all that up. I was doing chicken the other night. Yeah, Magma grill. Yeah, I need to cook the old chicken off. Overpriced, and they rot away. They don't cook even the square ones. And it's as much as a regular household barbecue grill, and they just fall apart. But I think that's these people do. It's like the Jabsco head I've got. Kind of the same thing. They make as much money off of parts as they do anything else. This is my LP tank for my Dickinson heater. It's not where I wanted to put it, but because of limited access underneath the cockpit pit, it's where it ended up. This is my RAM mic from my Standard Horizon radio. It just worked out real well to put it in there. When I don't use it, I just take the regulator and shove back up in here. It's not ideal having it in the cockpit and expecting it to drain out of the scupper. but it works. I had one of my power cords burn up. Everybody has power cords burn up because of electrical issues, whether it be at the marina or on the boat, or you're pulling too many amps, which I wasn't. But my old air conditioner pulled a lot of amperage. I'm sorry, it's filthy in here. It's winter time and I'm not getting out and washing all the crap off the boat. So I had to replace this Marinco, I think it's the name of my old power cord. I didn't like it. I didn't replace it with that. This Furon I really like. Oh, it's upside down. Sorry, figure it out. It doesn't focus very well. Furrion. I really like this power cord. I like it a lot better than the Marinco. This is a flow meter. Yeah, what about this phone? That's Samsung S6. It's not doing a great job. Save a drop. This is just something you stick on a garden hose, but it allowed me to see as I'm filling my tanks. Cut my finger. As I was filling my tanks, exactly how much water I was putting in them, because I don't have a meter on the boat. And also kind of realized that the boat's supposed to hold 100 gallons, and it seems like it only holds a little less than 90. What else do we have in here? That's about it in here. Get a knife and trim that down. Like I said, my old hatches had the snaps on them. This is one of my old hatch covers, and I didn't drill holes. This is one of the things I do. I'm saying in the wintertime it's supposed to be kind of flip it around. So with the tinted windows being in the cockpit, it really doesn't matter. And I put the little tape on there to pull them out a little easier. Get the scissors here. Gonna take this, trim the corners off of it, put the hatch cover on there. I'll show you. I'll show you that in here in just a second. So here's the new Lewmar hatches. Like I say, they're really just a little bit too small. You see on the picture, it's supposed to just kind of cover the glass, and it's supposed to stretch around the edge. It's really too big if I don't have this reflective foil over there. And on my small ones, what I did, so it's just made for a square hatch, but it works. And then you tear that open, and it comes with a little bug screen, which is kind of nice. And they're only like 30 bucks from Defender right now. This is the exhaust stack for the Dickinson heater. You get your fresh air in through the outside of it, and the exhaust comes through here. And this gets so hot, and when raindrops hit it, it's a really bizarre sound, but that's tight. That's just when it's raining and you have the heat on, it does that. Very weird. But they make a cover for it. I'm gonna get the cover, I guess, like 80 bucks for the stupid cover. What you gonna do? But it does get so hot you would burn your skin if you touched it. But you can hold your hand around it, and you don't get all that much heat off of it. I started with the Rob Ship thing. I got the inset turnbuckles here, and these need to be cleaned too. But I used to come by, you see how much deck space you have here, enough, especially with the whisker pole on this side. I would kick these things all the time, and I've had these on here probably a year. I've never kicked them with this. You just kind of notice it, I guess. So these are nice. I don't know how much they really protect the turnbuckles, but it looks nice on here. Plus it keeps you from breaking your toes, which is the big thing for me. Water hoses. You can buy this. You have to order it and have it shipped to the store. This is just the plain old Camco drinking water hose. You can go in the store and get a 50-foot and you'll pay about 25, 26 bucks. Or you can go on Walmart.com and get the 75-foot and pay like $2 more than that. Cut it in half, put your reusable ends on here, and you get two hoses, but just about the same price. So I cut it in half because my water is actually right down there, which is kind of nasty. It's underwater right now. We're on winter water, so I'm filling my tanks. So I cut this in half, and I get 2 years because it only lasts about a year out in the sun. It just kind of melts the things. I even got the heavy duty one and it just didn't hold up. I think that's about it out here. So we'll continue it inside. Anything from Blue Sea Electronics. Wonderful company. Lifetime warranty on everything. I've spent about $1,200–1,300 on stuff between these two. My AC panel over on your right and all the DC on the left. This one I actually made. This is just a little it's a little CT, a little current transducer, plus you tap in to the switch up here and you can measure how many amps. I've done this on previous videos too, but how many amps you're currently using. This is my hot water heater, and a little bit off of the battery charger. And I'm currently getting 118 volts in here. Let's see if I turn the hot water heater off. It drops about 7 volts, and or 7 amps, and my voltage goes up, but that's because of poor wiring here at the marina. So, fan just came on for the air conditioning that cycles, which I don't like, but that's part of it. And the selector switch, I've got to redo my. So I think this thing was originally up here, so it was all this old stuff. Got rid of it, so I need to redo my panel in the back, and I don't like the way they had it set up anyway, so I'm going to redo it. This is my old selector. It doesn't do anything anymore. This is for my generator, preheat, start, stop. Like I say, the selector, I have an inlet in the anchor locker in the front, and then I have one in the cockpit that you saw earlier in the video. So it was a single source like this. So if you had it plugged in on one side, it actually made the other male plug hot. You could stick your fingers in there and get zapped by 120. I thought that was a pretty piss poor way to do it, but somebody added, probably the one in the locker they added. So I split it up between fore and aft. That way only one of them is hot at the time. And then of course the generator. This is a Clipper battery monitor. Quite dirty. Trying to get the light out of it. I love this thing, except this was the BM1 at the time. They didn't have the BM2, which is a 100 amp or a 200 amp monitor. This thing will only monitor up to an 100 amp input or output, which was fine at the time because I had a 40 amp battery charger, but I have since gone to a 135 amp battery charger. And if I'm doing a full charge, like when I first get back to the marina, it will not show everything that it's supposed to, but it's still pretty neat. And all this stuff changes over time. As it says, my battery is about 80% full, but that's because they're constantly being discharged and charged, and it's not quite right because of the shunt is the wrong size. But when you go out, that's a starting battery voltage, house battery voltage, which should be the same because they're connected right now. It says it would take 127 hours to charge. But if you reset that, so when you go out on the hook or you're sailing or something, it will measure your discharge rate. So you know you get out there, your batteries were fully charged, you reset that, and it will count down the amount of amps that you've been using. See, right now we're using half of an amp. There's really not much running. Part of it's these lights up here. So the discharge, it's actually went up because we're charging. It's not showing on here because it's less than 10 amps. This is the meter for my Magma battery charger. Love this thing too. But see, if we were not, see if I can turn that off. Yep. Trying to look through the phone and do it. So now we're discharging, and if I turn something on, you see that discharge will increase. And I don't really have a whole lot. Lights outside, anchor light, steaming light, foredeck light, running lights, but most of them are LED, so they don't use a whole lot. The VHF, stove, stereo, radar, man, that'll take a lot. My sailing instruments. So with all that on, we're only pulling about 6.5 amps. But you don't need any of that crap. I'll leave a lot on, so that'll drop back down as it goes through and realizes that that we're not drawing that many amps anymore. And this is also my inverter. So anytime that I'm on the hook and I need 120, push a button and I got it. Love it. So this will kick it back on. Come on. Sorry, looking through the screen on the phone. Oh, duh, push the wrong button. There we go. So now it's charging again. It'll probably kick up a little bit. It normally does. If you turn it off for a while and turn it back on, it goes to like 135 amps and then works its way down. 135 amps at 120 volts is a lot of amps. It pulls a lot of amps through here. Oh, see, we're up to 20.3. That is the air conditioning pulling about 10, 7 on the hot water heater, and about 3 on the dehumidifier. I say the battery charger's really not pulling much. I had, sorry all the crap around here, I always have a ton of little projects going on, so I had an old Guest galvanic isolator which separates your marina ground, your plug-in ground, and your actual boat ground. So if there's any stray voltage in the water, it doesn't come back through your boat and corrode all of your metals trying to get back to the earth ground. It separates all that and uses the boat ground as primarily your earth ground somehow. Anyway, so this one's got LEDs on it, and I was starting to get a fault. Come to find out, it was never wired up correctly. But I went ahead and spent $200 and got a new one that doesn't have the ability to fault like this one. It's just one wire in, one wire out. Plus it opened up my little space back here. I don't know if I published that one or not. I did a video, I don't think I did, about getting back there with a drill bit if you don't have one long enough. I wish I could remember. I got this off of eBay and it's filthy, but it's a touch LED. I think I paid $30 for it, and look it up, list is like $250. That was super sweet. And the old light was way down here. This one's ugly brass things. So I said there's multiple reasons I need to replace this. Originally when I bought the boat there was no lighting up here, so I bought some of these LED strips. Where are you? Here they go. Of course I guess this one's holding up okay. I don't see any diodes out. I put those in all my videos, love them. Of course, we've done the Dickinson, it's always a mess here, the Dickinson propane heater. I've had a couple of problems with that. Just, I don't know, I like the heater. I like it better than I think anything else I would have gotten, but for the money, I think they threw it together kind of fast, and they keep working on it. I tried to remove, because on the website it says that this screen is removable, and that glass gets crazy hot. Anything that touches, you know, the main chamber inside gets really hot. But I don't get over here near it, and I thought it'd look cooler without the screen. So I tried to take these screws out, and there's nuts on the back of them. You can't. So you have to take the 4 screws out in the corner, and one of them, just, of course, it's stainless, and one of them just, the end of the screw just twisted off, and another one, the screw broke. If you've ever tried to drill out stainless, it was a freaking nightmare. I finally got it, but I shouldn't have had to, because they said it's removable. You should have been able to take out 8 screws, and then there was this huge stupid looking gap in between the glass and the metal, and there was no way to make it look decent, so I ended up going, well, that was a lot of work for nothing. I just put the whole stupid thing back together. Of course, my Cannondale Super 6, wonderful bike. I just need to start riding again. I didn't ride much this year. I'll show you all my great big mess. Of course, this is where I live. You know, I sit right there up under the blanket. I'm actually doing some stuff on YouTube right now. I had a laptop, and so I broke the screen on it, and I didn't want to get another laptop because I'd already bought this. I couldn't replace the screen on the laptop, so I bought this this Acer, which is pretty much a laptop with just a little more room and a lot more power. This, I don't know about this thing. This thing was crazy expensive too. This is Creative Labs Sound Blaster. Actually, it's the Roar 2. Costs more, but it's supposed to be bigger, better, better. It's wireless. It's Bluetooth. So the big thing, I used to have my computer hooked up to my house speakers back there. Love those things. They kick butt. Boston Acoustic. I did have to rebuild those things, but they're amazing. So I would Bluetooth it over to my stereo, and then something to do with the Chinese Bluetooth thing in Windows, they started not liking each other, and I lost one of my channels, so I didn't have anything coming out of the right speaker. So, plus I wanted something in the cockpit. I didn't want to have to add speakers. So I started looking into these things, and this had really, really great reviews, and it's okay. It does get loud. It sounds pretty good, but it doesn't sound big. It sounds like it's coming from one spot. It's got 2 speakers on the end and then like 3 in the front. I don't think it's worth the money that I paid for it, but it is what it is. You cannot live on a boat in the wintertime without a dehumidifier. You just can't do it because the heat pump doesn't pull the moisture out of the air. This has got like a 1.5 gallon bucket on it, and I will empty that every 2 to 3 days depending on whether it's raining or not. So like some of my other videos, this one ran a little long, so I decided to split it into 2. And I'll go ahead and post part 1, and part 2 will be coming soon. Thanks.